3,000 years after their initial classification as pre-spaceflight primitives, humanity surprised the Galactic Concordat with their sudden appearance on the galactic stage. The Concordat, rulers of most of the Milky Way for over 12 millennia, had dismissed humans as a curiosity at best, a species that might achieve basic interplanetary travel in another 1,000 years if they survived that long. Admiral Taiho sat stiffly in his command chair aboard the diplomatic vessel Eternal Harmony *. His scales shifted color slightly, betraying his anxiety despite his calm demeanor. The ship represented the pinnacle of Concordat engineering, symmetrical, sleek, with all systems concealed behind gleaming hull plates that formed perfect geometric patterns. "Contact approaching, Admiral," reported Commander Subin. "Human vessel now entering visual range." "Display," Taiho ordered. The viewing screen activated, and the bridge fell silent. The approaching ship defied all Concordat design principles. It was asymmetrical, with sections that jutted out at odd angles. Some systems were visibly exposed, protected only by energy fields rather than proper hull plating. Various modules appeared to have been added as afterthoughts rather than part of a unified design. "Is their ship damaged?" asked Lieutenant Min, tilting his head in confusion. "No," replied Science Officer Jinwoo, studying his readings with increasing alarm. "Their ship is fully functional. Those exposed elements appear to be deliberate." Admiral Taiho couldn't hide his dismay. How could a species advance from primitive combustion rockets to this in just 3,000 years? Our records indicated they would barely reach their own moon by now. Jinwoo continued scanning. "Admiral, their drive signature indicates capabilities matching our 7th Fleet vessels. Their shields," he paused, rechecking his instruments. "Their shields appear to use principles we abandoned as inefficient 8,000 years ago, but somehow they've achieved power levels comparable to our own." The human ship, which they had named Odyssey continued its approach. Its movements were precise despite its chaotic appearance. Admiral Taiho noted how it adjusted its course with small bursts from oddly placed thrusters rather than the smooth gravitational fields used by Concordat vessels. "They're hailing us," reported Communications Officer Youngmei. "On screen," ordered Taiho, straightening in his chair. The human captain appeared, a female with dark skin and curly hair bound tightly behind her head. "Greetings, Admiral Taiho. I am Captain Kim of the Earth Expeditionary Force. We come in peace and friendship." The translation was flawless. Another surprise. Taiho nodded formally. "Welcome to Concordat Space, Captain. We are surprised by your arrival. Our records indicated your species was far from achieving interstellar travel." Captain Kim smiled. "We've made rapid progress in recent centuries. We're eager to establish diplomatic relations with the Concordat." "Of course," replied Taiho. "We have prepared docking protocols, our standard approach vectors." "Admiral," interrupted Kim politely, "our ship uses non-standard docking systems. I'm transmitting our requirements now." Youngmei looked up from her console in surprise. "They're requesting direct access to our secondary maintenance bay, rather than the diplomatic dock." Jinwoo studied the incoming data and spoke quietly. "Admiral, their ship, it can't dock at our standard ports. The shape is incompatible with our universal design." Taiho felt a growing unease. In 12,000 years of Concordat expansion, they had never encountered a spacefaring species that didn't conform to the standard docking configurations that had been perfected millennia ago. "Very well," he finally said. "We will adapt our maintenance bay." After docking procedures completed, Admiral Taiho led a delegation to meet the humans. The Concordat officials wore identical formal uniforms, walking in perfect synchronization. They entered the conference room to find the human delegation already waiting. The humans wore varied clothing that seemed to indicate different specialties, but lacked the uniform precision the Concordat valued. Captain Kim stepped forward. "Thank you for accommodating our unusual vessel. Admiral, we understand our designs may seem unconventional. Indeed, replied Taiho carefully. Your approach to shipbuilding is unlike any in our records. We value adaptation and innovation, Kim explained. Each ship class serves as a platform for testing new ideas. As the initial diplomatic formalities concluded, Taiho couldn't shake his concern. The humans had accomplished in 3,000 years what had taken the Concordat nearly 20,000. More troubling, they had done it by ignoring principles the Concordat considered fundamental. That night, after submitting his report to the Grand Council, Admiral Taiho stood looking out at the human vessel in the maintenance bay. Its strange angles and exposed systems seemed almost offensive to his eye, yet he couldn't deny its effectiveness. The humans had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. Intelligence Officer Hannah stared at the holographic model of the human ship floating above her desk. After 2 weeks of study, she still couldn't make sense of its design principles. The Concordat had perfected shipbuilding over 12 millennia, refining each class until they achieved optimal efficiency. Yet these humans built vessels that seemed almost random in their configuration. A soft chime announced her visitor. Captain June of the Human Expeditionary Force entered her office with a relaxed stride that contrasted sharply with the measured movements of Concordat officers. You wanted to see me about our ship designs, he asked, eyeing the hologram. Hannah nodded. I've analyzed your vessel extensively, but I confess I don't understand your approach. This cooling array, she pointed to a section of exposed machinery, could be 32% more efficient if enclosed and positioned symmetrically along this axis. June smiled, but then it would be harder to repair in the field. Repairs should be rare if systems are properly optimized, Hannah countered. In theory, yes, but we operate in unpredictable conditions. Easy access saves lives. June gestured to the hologram. May I? Hannah nodded, and he manipulated the display to highlight different sections of the ship. See these redundant systems. They don't maximize efficiency, but they ensure we don't lose critical functions if one fails. And these exposed parts let us modify components without major disassembly. Hannah frowned. But why not perfect a single design? Your fleet has dozens of configurations. The resources wasted on constant redesigns. We don't see it as waste, June interrupted gently. We see it as evolution. Each ship teaches us something new. Their discussion was interrupted by a station-wide alert. The lights dimmed momentarily before emergency systems activated. Primary power coupling failure in Section 12, announced the station eye. Backup systems engage. Hannah's communication device buzzed with multiple alerts. This is unexpected. The power grid on this station has functioned flawlessly for 230 years. Mind if I tag along? June asked. I'm curious how you handle emergencies. They hurried to the affected section, where Concordat engineers were already consulting their manuals as diagnostic systems ran standard protocols. Estimated repair time: 4 hours, stated the lead engineer. We must replace the entire coupling assembly as per standard procedure. 4 hours. June looked concerned. What systems are affected? Life support reserves will maintain atmosphere, but we've lost climate regulation in the diplomatic quarters and auxiliary research labs, Hannah explained. June studied the damaged coupling. We could bypass it with a temporary shunt. It wouldn't be perfect, but it would restore power in minutes rather than hours. The Concordat engineer looked horrified. That would violate safety protocols. The shunt wouldn't meet efficiency standards. But it would work, June insisted. As temperatures in the affected sections began dropping rapidly, Hannah made a decision. Show us your solution. With reluctant permission, June and 2 human technicians quickly assembled a bypass using components from their own supplies. The impromptu shunt looked crude compared to the elegant Concordat systems, but when activated, power flowed once more. This is only 68% efficient, complained the Concordat engineer, and completely non-standard. But it works, Hannah observed, watching as environmental systems came back online, and it can remain functional until proper repairs are complete. Later, as proper repairs neared completion, Hannah invited June to her office again. "Your solution was inelegant," she admitted, "but effective under the circumstances." June nodded. "Humans have a saying, 'Perfect is the enemy of good.' Sometimes a quick, adaptable solution beats a perfect but slow one." Hannah gestured to new holographic displays showing various human vessels. "I've been studying your fleet more carefully. Each ship class seems to specialize in adapting to different challenges rather than pursuing universal optimization." "Exactly. The universe is too unpredictable for a single perfect solution. We designed for flexibility." A notification appeared on Hannah's console. "The station chief wants your temporary shunt preserved for study along with your repair methodology," she said with surprise. "This is unprecedented." June smiled. "Perhaps your people are beginning to see value in our approach." As he left, Hannah returned to studying the human designs with new eyes. For 12,000 years, the Concordat had pursued perfection through standardization and optimization. They had achieved remarkable efficiency, but at what cost? The humans' chaotic, adaptable approach had solved in minutes what would have taken hours using approved methods. That night, Hannah added something unprecedented to her official report, a recommendation that the Concordat reconsider its fundamental engineering philosophy. After millennia of refining the perfect solution, perhaps they needed to remember how to improvise. The grand exhibition hall of the Concordat Central Station gleamed with polished surfaces and perfect symmetry. For 10,000 years, the quinquennial shipbuilding exhibition had followed the same format. Each species presented their most refined vessel designs, which inevitably showed only minor improvements over previous exhibitions. The Concordat judges would then award recognition based on efficiency, elegance, and adherence to established engineering principles. This year was different. For the first time, humans had been invited to participate. "This is unprecedented," muttered Senior Judge Maiho to his assistant. "Inviting a species that has been spacefaring for less than 5 centuries to present alongside the elder races." The council insisted. His assistant replied quietly. "After the incident with the power coupling last month, there has been curiosity." The exhibition hall was divided into sections, each allocated to a participating species. The Cloraxian display featured their latest battlecruiser design, virtually identical to their previous entry except for a 3% improvement in energy efficiency. The ancient Q had brought a meditation vessel with environmental systems, so perfectly calibrated that the operators could achieve perfect meditation states during interstellar travel. The human section, however, was chaotic. Instead of a finished ship model on a pedestal, the humans had set up what appeared to be an active workshop. Engineers moved about, discussing ideas, and making real-time modifications to a ship design that seemed to evolve by the hour. Visitors from other species were not merely observers but were being invited to contribute suggestions. "What is this disorder?" Judge Maiho asked as he approached the human section for official evaluation. Chief Engineer Sue from the human delegation stepped forward. "Welcome, Judge. We are demonstrating our collaborative design process rather than presenting a finished product." "But how can we evaluate an unfinished design?" Maiho asked, perplexed. "The design process itself is what we wish to showcase," Sue explained. "In human shipbuilding, we believe the journey is as important as the destination." Throughout the day, curious visitors from all species stopped by the human section. Most Concordat officials watched with barely concealed disdain for the lack of formality, but a few younger engineers lingered, fascinated by the dynamic approach. One such engineer was Sung Min, a promising young Concordat designer who had won awards for his minor but elegant improvements to the standard Concordat cruiser design. He had spent hours watching the humans work, asking occasional questions. "You're changing the shield configuration again?" he asked Sue as the human team implemented a suggestion from a visiting Cloraxian. "Yes," Sue confirmed. Karn's idea about resonance harmonics could improve our shield stability by 15%. But you just finalized those plans yesterday, Sung Min said. We finalize nothing until the ship is built, Sue replied. And even then, we modify constantly. By the exhibition's third day, something unexpected began to happen. The oldest species in the galaxy, the ancient Q, who had been spacefaring for over 50,000 years, started spending significant time in the human section. Elder Q Lin, whose meditation vessel was expected to win highest honors, could be seen deep in conversation with the human engineers. They remind me of something lost, Judge Maiho overheard Elder Lin say to another Q. The joy of discovery, the excitement of the unexpected. We once designed this way, before we found perfection and stopped looking beyond it. On the final day, as the judges deliberated, Sung Min approached the human section with determination in his step. I want to learn from you, he announced to Sue. Your methods violate everything I've been taught, but they produce results our tradition cannot. The human engineer smiled. We'd be happy to have you join. Sung Min. Senior Judge Maiho interrupted, approaching rapidly. What are you doing? The deliberations are about to conclude. I'm joining the Human Design Collective. Sung Min replied calmly. I've requested transfer to their station. Maiho's scales flashed red with alarm. This is unprecedented. You are a decorated Concordat engineer. Your place is here, perfecting our traditions. Our traditions have become stagnation, Sung Min replied. We haven't truly innovated in 8,000 years. The news spread quickly through the exhibition hall. A Concordat engineer, especially one so promising, had never transferred to work with another species. It was considered nearly treasonous. As diplomatic officials rushed to contain the situation, Elder Lin of the Q approached. All fell silent in respect for the ancient being. The young one sees what we elders have forgotten, Lin said softly. The universe is not static, and neither should be our designs. The elder turned to Maiho. Perhaps instead of protest, you should ask why a promising student seeks knowledge elsewhere. As the exhibition concluded, the humans received no official recognition from the judges, but they departed with something more valuable. Sung Min's expertise, the respect of the elder races, and the first crack in the Concordat's 12,000 years of unchanging tradition. The seed of change had been planted, and the galaxy waited to see what would grow. The emergency alert echoed through the Concordat High Command Center. Admiral Du Hyun rushed to the Situation Room where officers frantically worked at their stations. The large display showed a growing spatial distortion near the densely populated Tarim sector. Status report, Du Hyun demanded. Science Officer Sung looked up from her console, her scales shifting to an anxious blue hue. A wormhole anomaly has formed without warning. It's emitting gravitational waves unlike anything in our records. 3 planets with a combined population of 12 billion are in immediate danger. Deploy the 7th Fleet, ordered Du Hyun. Standard containment formation. The Concordat's finest ships, each one identical in its perfect symmetry and optimized systems, moved into position around the anomaly. Their elegant hulls gleamed as they formed a precise geometric pattern designed to contain spatial disturbances. But this anomaly didn't behave like anything in the Concordat database. As the ships activated their containment fields, the wormhole pulsed. Strange energy patterns lashed out, disrupting the carefully calibrated fields. The containment is failing, reported Fleet Commander Jun. The anomaly is generating unpredictable energy signatures that our systems cannot adapt to. Du Hyun watched in horror as 2 Concordat vessels were caught in a gravitational surge. Their perfect hulls crumpled under forces they weren't designed to withstand. The remaining ships maintained formation, but their containment efforts were clearly ineffective. Our ships are designed for known phenomena, Sung explained. This anomaly operates on principles we haven't encountered before. An urgent communication interrupted them. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the human delegation. The screen shifted to show Captain Sue of the Human Exploration Fleet. Admiral Du Hyun, We've detected the anomaly. We have vessels specifically designed for unpredictable spatial phenomena. We offer our assistance." Do-hyun hesitated. The humans had been a diplomatic irritation since their arrival, and accepting their help would be seen as a failure of Concordat self-sufficiency. "The Concordat fleet is managing the situation," he replied stiffly. "With respect, Admiral, your ships aren't designed for this kind of anomaly." Su persisted. "Our Chaos-class vessels have adaptable systems specifically for unknown phenomena." Before Do-hyun could respond, another urgent message came through. It was Governor Yun of Terram Prime, the most populated planet in the threatened sector. "Admiral, our sensors show the containment is failing," the governor said, panic evident in her voice. "If that anomaly expands, we'll lose millions in the first hour. I've received the human offer of assistance, and I'm formally accepting it on behalf of my people." Do-hyun's scales flashed red with anger. "Governor, you don't have authority to." "Actually, under Emergency Protocol 87, she does," interrupted his legal advisor. "When planetary survival is at stake, governors can accept external assistance." Do-hyun watched helplessly as 5 human vessels approached the anomaly. Unlike the identical Concordat ships, each human vessel had a unique configuration. They moved with seemingly chaotic patterns, constantly adjusting to the anomaly's pulses. "What are they doing?" asked Commander Jun. "Their formation makes no sense." Seung studied her readings. "They're adapting. Each ship is reconfiguring its systems in real time to respond to the anomaly's changes." The human vessels deployed unusual equipment, devices that looked cobbled together from disparate technologies. One ship extended what appeared to be mechanical tendrils directly into the anomaly's edge. "That's suicide," gasped June. "No shielding can withstand direct contact with a spatial tier." Yet the human ship remained intact. Its unusual shields flickered and shifted in patterns that matched the anomaly's pulses. The other vessels moved into positions that seemed random but somehow reinforced each other's effects. "They're stabilizing it," Seung said in amazement. "Their ships are working together, each handling different aspects of the anomaly." Over the next hour, the human vessels gradually tamed the spatial distortion. Their unorthodox approaches, combining technologies in ways the Concordat had never considered, slowly brought the crisis under control. When it was finally over, Captain Su contacted High Command again. "The anomaly is stable. We've established a resonance pattern that should prevent further expansion. With your permission, we'd like to leave 2 of our ships to monitor the situation." Do-hyun could only nod in agreement. Later, in his private office, he reviewed the data from the encounter. The humans had succeeded where the perfect Concordat fleet had failed. Their Chaos-class vessels, with their seemingly random designs and adaptable systems, had saved billions of lives. A message arrived from the Concordat Council. "Formal inquiry into today's events scheduled. Prepare full report on human ship capabilities and potential integration of their methods into Concordat defense protocols." Do-hyun stared at the message. After 12,000 years of doing things the same way, the Concordat was considering change. All because of humans and their strange, chaotic ships that defied all logical design principles, yet worked when nothing else could. The Grand Council chamber of the Concordat had remained unchanged for 7,000 years. Its perfect geometric design emphasized harmony and order, values the Concordat had maintained across the galaxy for millennia. Today, however, something unprecedented was happening. High Elder Jiho, who had led the council for 3 centuries, stood before the assembled representatives of all Concordat worlds. Beside him stood a human, and more surprisingly, Sung-min, the young Concordat engineer who had caused such scandal by joining the humans 6 months earlier. After careful deliberation, Jiho announced, his voice carrying through the chamber, "The Council of Elders formally recognizes the value of human shipbuilding philosophy." A murmur ran through the assembly. Many had expected censure of the humans after the wormhole incident, not endorsement. "The crisis in the Terram sector demonstrated limitations in our approach," Jiho continued. For 12,000 years, we have pursued perfection through standardization. This has served us well in a stable galaxy. But the universe is changing, and so must we. Some men stepped forward, no longer wearing the traditional uniform of a Concordat engineer. His new garments combined elements of human and Concordat design, much like the ships he now helped create. I present to the Council the first vessel from our joint human Concordat design team, he said, activating a holographic display. The ship that appeared above the Council floor defied easy categorization. It maintained some of the elegant symmetry of Concordat vessels, but incorporated the exposed systems and adaptive configurations that characterized human design. It was neither purely Concordat nor human, but something new. The Asterisk Harmony and Chaos Asterisk class combines our traditions of precision with human adaptability. Sung Min explained. Core systems maintain Concordat standards, while adaptive outer systems allow for rapid reconfiguration in unpredictable situations. Elder Jiho gestured to the assembly. The Council has approved formation of a Concordat Innovation Division, to be led by Engineer Sung Min. For the first time in 8,000 years, we will actively pursue new design philosophies rather than refining established ones. Not everyone was pleased with this announcement. Admiral Du Hyun rose from his seat. Elder, with respect, these human designs violate principles we have maintained since the Foundation era. To abandon them now. We are not abandoning our principles, interrupted a new voice. Elder Q Lin, oldest of the spacefaring races, entered the chamber. The ancient being moved slowly toward the center of the room, commanding immediate silence. We are remembering older ones, Lin continued. Before the Concordat, before the great standardization, we Q built ships much as the humans do now. Creative, adaptable vessels that changed with each new discovery. Lin gestured toward the holographic ship. Look closely at the human approach. Their chaos is not truly chaos. It is a higher form of order, one that embraces change rather than resisting it. The Elder activated a personal device, and another hologram appeared, an ancient Q vessel from 50,000 years ago. Its design showed remarkable similarities to modern human ships, with systems exposed for modification and asymmetrical components that could be reconfigured. When we encountered the Concordat 12,000 years ago, we chose stability over innovation. Lin explained. It seemed wise then. But we lost something precious. The joy of discovery, the spark of creation. In the days that followed, joint human Concordat design teams formed throughout Concordat space. Engineers who had spent their careers making tiny improvements to standardized designs now found themselves collaborating with humans to create entirely new configurations. 6 months later, Sung Min stood on the observation deck of the New Horizons station, watching as the first fleet of hybrid vessels prepared for launch. Beside him stood his human colleague, Engineer Su. I never expected this, Sung Min admitted. When I joined your team, I thought I might learn new techniques to improve our designs. I never imagined we would change the Concordat itself. Su smiled. That's the human way. We don't just adapt our ships to the universe. Sometimes we adapt the universe to our ships. Below them, shipyards that had produced identical vessels for millennia now bustled with diverse activity. Engineers from a dozen species worked together, combining traditions that had remained separate for thousands of years. A small ship docked at the station, and Elder Q Lin emerged. The ancient being joined them at the window. The galaxy enters a new age, Lin observed. For too long, we elders believed we had reached the pinnacle of achievement. The humans reminded us that there is no pinnacle, only the next horizon. As the new fleet departed, its ships neither perfectly uniform nor wildly different, but something in between. Some men realized that humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy wasn't their technology or even their ship designs. It was something simpler. They had reminded an ancient galaxy how to imagine again.